Listen, I've said what I wanted to say about these dopamine releasing extravaganzas. And again, with those last two, Megabonk and Clover Pit, I thought we had reached the ceiling for these types of experiences. And again, I was proven wrong. Video games right now are awesome because they're always looking to learn from each other. I mean, what's most popular right now are video games that take your full attention for only 15 to 30 minutes at a time, then give you some time to breathe again until the next round. And a lot of devs know this, which is why I really got to give some flowers to those experiences that manage to use the foundation laid by their contemporaries and build upon it something original. And Ball Pit achieves this. Well, mostly. Okay, the game is fun. It checks those boxes, hits those marks, pulls out all the stops, but still, feels like there was something missing. I play games to have fun, and to be fulfilled, and to find something worth returning to. And this game right here is one that I thought could offer me that. And it did. For a time at least. But honestly, what kind of bummed me out was that after running through this one for a good 10 hours, I realized I could find this kind of experience in countless other games right now. It's just more of the same, I guess. Sure, it's worth playing, at least for a little, but if you've had a great time with other games in this family of experience, then I'm here to tell you, you won't really find anything truly groundbreaking here. It does make a genuine effort to keep things fresh, and it does succeed on some levels, but at the end of the day, I just gotta keep it real. What it did differently just wasn't enough to keep me hooked because, at the end of the day, we've seen it all before. You know me, before I get into anything too crazy, I just gotta mention this game's visual style, which, for the most part, finds itself in this weird middle ground of being extremely derivative and pretty original. I absolutely love when a game puts effort into its looks, and this game does that. Kinda. Again, we are faced with an aesthetic that is ripped straight from those who have come before. A low polygon count, stripped back visual style that leverages its color palette and character models to tell a story. I love that. But this time, the game shifts perspective a little bit. It's not top down, it's not a fully third person over the shoulder perspective. It's this 2.5D angled experience that almost looks like cardboard diorama or something. I mean, I liked it. It's nice to look at. The colors are warm, the character models are interesting. The old-timey, almost medieval aesthetic is one that didn't really grab me when looking through the screenshots at first, but playing it offered up a much different type of experience, one that was engaging enough to keep me interested. And now, to get into the real discussion here, the gameplay. Okay. This is one of those games where gameplay is everything. Interesting to look at, can only take an experience so far before the gameplay itself is scrutinized. And I'm here to scrutinize it just a little bit. What it does right, though, is absolutely excellent. Think Peggle, think Pong, and then throw in some real combat to those two games and mix them together and you get Ball Pit. It was a refreshing take on the auto battler, bullet heaven genre that is so in right now. And those hits of goodness usually offered by those games come here and they come in waves. From the jump, you're shooting a stream of balls at waves of enemies that hit with an impact so satisfying you want to turn on that auto shoot button immediately. And the absolute wild amount of enemies encroaching on you at any given moment only enhances the experience tenfold. You're feeling the impact. You're seeing damage numbers all over the place. You're seeing them go down and hearing them release their final breath all at the same time. It's magnificent, and it's all made better by the pretty consistent flow of upgrades you get to acquire, which is funny because what makes this game great was, for me, what I also grew tired of pretty quickly. So you pick up these little gems, right? And those gems get you closer to leveling up, and once you do, you are faced with some options to make your character's projectiles stronger. Territory we are all familiar with at this point. They are exciting upgrades for the most part. One will freeze a group of enemies, another will apply a lasting status effect, and you can fuse certain ones to create a combination of the two to free up room for more upgrades. It's a fluid system that works pretty flawlessly every step of the way. But this is where it gets a little dicey, because you'll get familiar with the flow of things pretty quickly. And once you do, things will just kind of happen, I guess. Speaking specifically to how I experience these types of games, round 1, everything is all new, it's exciting, it's fun to see things unravel right before my very eyes. Round 3, things are starting to click a little better and it's even more exciting because I actually know what I'm doing. Round 10 though, I've seen a good amount of what I want to see and become a passive observer as things unfold right in front of me. And this is where I got stuck with Ball Pit. When I'm playing a game, I don't really like when things feel passive, because when it's passive, it starts to feel like it's just background noise, or an experience that doesn't have much meaning behind it aside from killing time. I never want a game to feel like it's just filler, but these games tend to become that pretty quickly. I mean, at a certain point, they just kind of run themselves, right? Sure, you can pay attention, but in my experience, you don't really need to. Time and time again, I found myself starting a run, ready to lock in, and then just kind of riding the wave. Yeah, when you lock in, you can really start to feel like you're doing something when you start to see your build come together, but I think that part of the experience is weakened by the fact that you aren't really doing much else aside from hitting a button for a quick stat upgrade. Really, you can be only half paying attention during the 15 minutes that a round lasts and come out with a victory, or get pretty close to one at least. And when an individual instance of this experience is so short anyway, there's never enough at stake to warrant locking in all the way. In my experience, most of the time I was just hoping things would work out. If they didn't, it was never never a big deal because I was just as likely to stumble upon an overpowered build in the next run, even by accident. There wasn't much incentive to lock in because you'd seem to find opportunities regardless. It was challenging at times, don't get me wrong, but those moments started to feel a little empty once I started to get familiar with the flow of things. Unfortunately, something that I didn't find much of in this game was meaning. There didn't seem to be much of a purpose after playing it once I got familiar with it. Your experience probably wasn't the same. I get that. And I would also like to acknowledge the fact that these feelings I'm grappling with are probably only being exacerbated by the fact that I just got done grinding out 3 or 4 games just like it. But I really started to look inward after playing it for a few hours and realizing that it wasn't really holding my attention. My hands were moving, my mouse was clicking things, but my mind was elsewhere almost the entire time. And then I had to ask myself, am I really enjoying this right now? The answer, honestly, was that I didn't know. Because at that point, it just didn't hit the same for me as it did in those opening hours. But it still kept me engaged enough to fill up some free time with something pretty cool. It didn't really break any new ground, but it put an interesting spin on something I've been a fan of for a long time. It didn't demand that I pay attention to it for the entirety of a session, but it gave me enough of a dopamine surge to hop into it night after night. It wasn't the deepest gaming experience I've ever been a part of, but its systems were still a lot of fun to learn and participate in. It was more of the same, but still a little different, and I can't fault it for being an excellent variation on a formula that we have all become so familiar with. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Ball Pit. It was not my intention to come down hard on this game because it's still a fun experience no matter which way you spin it. After a long day, it'll take the load off your shoulders pretty significantly. It'll give your brain a break without taking thinking entirely out of the equation, and you'll get out of it whatever you put into it. And for Ball Pit, that could be everything and it could be nothing. It won't demand your attention, but it'll reward you when you give it a chance to take it. So please, do play it. I do think it's worth checking out, but I wanted to share my experience with you in case there's anyone out there feeling the same way about these kinds of games. They're out there, and they're plentiful, and for the most part, they're all pretty fun. But if you're just coming off of something like Megabonk, Vampire Survivors, or any other roguelike that leverages this auto-battling mechanic, then you might not find anything really gripping about this one. It's still a quality game, and that's something I can't take away from it. Anyway, I appreciate you for sticking around. I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter, so please hit the comments down below if you got anything to say. My experience certainly might be a little different from yours, and yours matter to me just as much. But for now, thanks for watching. I'm Comp Graphics, and I'll catch you in the next episode.